Hi everyone, Abby here, and welcome back to my channel for Tech Tuesday, or welcome if you're new. Now today, as requested by many of you, I'm going to be talking about whether the Garmin Venu 3S smartwatch that came out in 2023 is still worth it in 2026. But before I get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed so you can stay tuned to all my new videos dropping weekly and so you can help the channel grow. So if you came here wanting to know if the Venu 3S is still worth it in 2026, I would say yes, it is definitely still worth it. Now, if that's all you wanted to know, I will see you in the next video. But if you want to know why, stick around because I'm going to be talking about all the reasons why this smartwatch is still worth it in 2026 and some reasons why it may not be the right watch for you. So the first reason the Garmin Venu 3S is still worth it in 2026 is the durability. Smartwatch I've had for years now. I've worn it so much, and all I've done is stick a screen protector on there, which I've had to replace just a few times. It's holding up very well. Now it has very minimal kind of signs of use on the body, just kind of normal usage over time. There's no major scratches or dents or anything, and I've worn this a lot for indoor workouts, outdoor workouts, just general usage, sleeping, all of that. So it is holding up very nicely, and that's something that I actually really like about this smartwatch. It does have like a plastic polymer body, and that holds up very well. And even the display being Gorilla Glass here, just sticking a screen protector on it is enough to keep it scratch free in my experience. Another reason why this smartwatch is still worth it is the design. It has a more compact design than some other Garmin watches. One thing I've noticed is that Garmin keeps making their smartwatches bigger and bigger, and even the ones they're marketing towards women. But the Venu 3S, you know, it's not too big, not too small. It has a 18mm band, which is a size that I really like, pretty compact. It has a 1.2-inch display. I think it looks really sleek, it looks stylish, and it's something that you could really dress up or down. If I'm going to an event like a party, or if I'm going to work or going to the gym, you can really just wear it wherever and it just looks good everywhere. And the Venu 3S does come out in a variety of color options. I'm someone who I really like gold, and they came out with a lot of gold. I do have this in the dust rose soft gold color. This is a unisex smartwatch gift for men and women, and it even comes in a larger version. And with the design here, we do have 3 buttons. It's very functional and practical for when you're actually using the smartwatch. All right, guys, if you're finding this video helpful so far, please go ahead and smash that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. So the Garmin Venu 3S has a quoted battery life up to 10 days on a single charge. That's something that I really like from Garmin, is that they are just killing it when it comes to battery life. Now, I will say, if you did get the Venu 3, which is, you know, the larger version, that one goes up to 14 days of battery life. But for me, 10 days with this smartwatch I think is a great option. And I've had it for a couple of years now, and the battery life really has not degraded or kind of worsened or slowed down. Like when I charge it, I can reliably get like the same amount of battery life. I know it's gonna last me at least a week. So that's something I really like, because if I wanted to go on vacation, and let's say I'm going on like a 5-night cruise, I could charge this at home, go for my cruise, come back, and it's still gonna have some battery on it. So I just really like that the battery life on this smartwatch is long and that it's reliable. So the Venu 3S has Garmin's newest heart rate sensor, which is the Elevate 5. Now this is a heart rate sensor that Garmin is still putting on their newest smartwatches. Like, they haven't come out with a new heart rate sensor since the Venu 3S. So if you want the latest and greatest heart rate sensor, you could still get it in this older smartwatch here. And with this heart rate sensor, it not only can, you know, pretty accurately get your heart rate when you're at rest, when you're working out, during sleep, also has the new updated ECG or EKG functionality. So if you want to get your heart rate rhythm, you can get that on this smartwatch. And it also does have an option to turn on heart rate alerts. So you can have alerts go off if your heart rate gets too low or too high within a set range that you can decide. So definitely a great heart rate sensor here. I think the performance is awesome, and that's something I think Garmin has been doing well for a very long time, is having accurate heart rate sensors. And this one is just the best of the best from them, you know, right now, even in 2026. The Garmin Venu 3S was the first Venu series smartwatch that came with a speaker and a mic built in. With the speaker and with the mic, super functional. So for one, you can take phone calls and place phone calls directly off your watch. You know, you could speak directly on your wrist and take those phone calls there. And that could be really helpful for a lot of people, just hands-free taking calls with your watch. Another reason is you can use voice assistant on here. So that also takes advantage of, the speaker and the mic. And with the Venu 3S here, it's compatible with iPhones, it's compatible with Android, so you can use Siri, Google. So with the speaker, you can play music directly off of the Venu 3S. So if you want to just listen to music off of your device, you can do that. You don't even have to connect any headphones or anything. So that can be really beneficial if you want to just, quickly listen to some music or play audio off of your smartwatch. So another thing with the speaker is that you can get notifications on here. So you can have, sound go off if you get a call or if you get a text. You can have alarm sounds go off for those of you who like to have alarms, auditory alarms versus just the vibration alarms. And also, one thing I really like about it is when you're working out, you can hear spoken word from your smartwatch. So if you're doing like biking or walking or something outdoors, you can have the smartwatch go off like every kilometer and it can tell you your stats.
6 seconds.
So with this smartwatch, you can download music. You can download music, podcasts from your, favorite providers like Spotify, YouTube Music, Deezer, and you can download that onto your smartwatch to listen to it phone free, offline with Bluetooth headphones, or you can listen to it once again directly off of the smartwatch. So I really like that it does have music functionality there because I don't have to bring my smartphone with me. I can literally just go for a workout outdoors, bring headphones with me, bring my watch, and I can listen to music, get my activities tracked. So the display just looks great. It does have an AMOLED color display, and once again, it's a 1.2-inch display on the Venu 3S. So in my opinion, that size is good. It's not too big, not too small. You can see everything that you need to see on the smartwatch. And I just think it looks great too. It is bright, it is clear. You get those bold, contrasting, punchy colors, and it looks very reminiscent of what you would see on a smartphone. Also with the display, there is a lot of watch face options that are out right now in 2026. Because it's not a brand new smartwatch, there's just so many watch faces available. Sometimes when brand new smartwatches come out, it takes a while for a good amount of watch faces to come out, but there's a lot on the Venu 3S. You can even make your own with the Garmin Connect IQ Store app, using your own picture or your own, colors and things like that. And it's really easy to read indoors in all lighting conditions, and even outdoors in the sunlight, you could still read it pretty well. And the display that is on the Venu 3S, it's the same display that's on the Venu 4, the newer version, and on other newer Garmin smartwatches. For the Venu 3S here, you can see there's 3 brightness settings. There's low, there's medium, there's high. And it has right here, this is auto brightness, so you can turn this off or on. So if you want the smartwatch to automatically adjust the lighting in the setting you choose, perfect. If you don't, you can turn that off and you can adjust the brightness yourself manually. You can increase it by like 10% to 100. If you want your smartwatch to be super dim at night, if you want your smartwatch to always stay at, let's say 30% because you want to keep your brightness low to increase your battery life, that's something you can do. And the brightness performance works very well. The Venu 3S tracks a huge amount of activities. It tracks indoor activities like yoga, cardio, strength, weightlifting. It can track outdoor activities like cycling, running, walking, hiking, and more. It does have a great amount of sensors built into it, like it has a barometric altimeter in there, so you can go for your hikes and you can get your altitude data on there, and you can get pretty accurate pace when you're going outside for doing outdoor activities as well. And it just does a great job at tracking your activities. And I do find that the metrics I get out of the smartwatch are very accurate in terms of the heart rate, in terms of the calories burned, the steps you're getting. All of that stuff I think is really great on the Venu 3S. Another thing about the activity tracking is that it does have like auto detect activity tracking that you can turn on. So it can automatically detect if you're like running, walking, some other activities as well, within you doing that for about 10 minutes or so. So if you do forget to start an activity, the smartwatch can do that for you. So that could be a helpful backup feature. On the Garmin watch, they call their apps widgets, but you can get a variety of them on here. For example, you can have the women's health widget. You can get Spotify. WhatsApp is a new app that they did add on here as well. The weather, they have your calendar, your notifications, your text messages, your sleep, the nap detection, which is a kind of a newer feature, body battery, muscle maps. Fitness age is interesting too. The Garmin Venu 3S also has HRV status, and there's a variety of other applications that you can add on here. I do like that it does have a good amount of apps, especially like fitness, metric-based apps on this smartwatch. So one of my favorite things about Garmin is that they don't leave you hanging with updates. So you can buy a smartwatch and a few years down the road, you're still going to be seeing updates for it. Garmin doesn't just like release a smartwatch and then after a year they're like, I'm not going to do it anymore, no more updates. They just keep putting them out like quietly and they're not really announcing it. For example, I even have like Phoenix 6S, Vivo Active 4S, and those are smartwatches that came out over 5 years ago, and Garmin is still sending out updates. You know, I get updates every once in a while. I'll see them on those smartwatches. So I just think it's great that this smartwatch, even though honestly it's not that old, it came out just a few years ago, but Garmin is still putting out updates. And I know some people told me that they've gotten smartwatches even older than those ones and they're still getting updates now. So I just really like that Garmin just really stands behind the product. So another reason why I think the Garmin Venu 3S is still worth it is picture notifications. On Garmin watches, on the older ones, I would say like, you know, the Venu 2S and kind of previous, so like 2022 and earlier really, they didn't really have picture notifications. So if someone texted you a picture, for example, you wouldn't be able to see what the picture is, you would just see that you got a picture notification. But on the Venu 3S and, you know, newer models, you can see the exact photo that is on there. So that is pretty handy.
For example, like Ring, security, UFI, stuff like that, you can get like picture notifications there. So if someone's at your door, you can see who's there.
That's something that I honestly think is a nice to have update that they have on the Venu 3S and on newer version Garmin smartwatches. So the Garmin Venu 3S has Garmin's older operating system. Now, you might be thinking, oh, it's older, like I want the newer one, but do you really want the newer operating system? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. So I have a video where I compared the Garmin Venu 3S versus the Garmin Venu 4, where you can see in that video the new operating system on the Garmin Venu 4 and the older one on the Garmin Venu 3S. I personally like the older operating system on the Garmin Venu 3S. For one, it has more contrast. You have a black background and you have white text and you have some, you know, color images for different apps and widgets, and it just looks good and it's easy to read at a quick glance. Now, with the newer operating system, it has a gradient background that are different colors, and the text is also white, so it makes it a little bit harder to read depending on the lighting condition or the angle. And the Garmin Venu 3S, it's easier to use in my opinion because it does have a 3-button setup and the buttons are very functional. You have one button where you can quick press it to get into your activities, you hold it, you open up your menu, you have another button for your voice assistant, and you have another button to go back and to get into your settings, and you could swipe to the right and you could get a shortcut, whatever shortcut you really want to put on there. So many of these features are gone in the new operating system. They just took away those, you know, functionality and those things. Some possible cons for you is that if you're comparing this to, let's say, the Venu 4, for example, the Venu 3S does not have smart wake alarms. So smart wake alarms is a feature where you can have your smartwatch that's supposed to wake you up at the optimal time in your sleep cycle. So you set an alarm for, let's say, 6:30. It can wake you up anytime between 6 and 6:30. It's supposed to wake you up at the least destructive time. The Garmin Venu 3S doesn't have that. It just has regular alarms. Another thing is that you do have the older operating system. So a lot of people do like the newer operating system because it does look refreshed, it looks more modern. So that could be a con for you not to have that newer operating system if you do like the look and, you know, the design and the functionality more of that system.
Another feature when we're kind of talking about comparing this to the Venu 4 is that the Venu 3S does not have dual band GPS. So it does have built-in GPS, but the GPS on the Venu 4 is more updated. It is a bit more accurate as well. So if you're someone who likes to hike especially, this could be more helpful for you having the newer GPS feature. Another thing is the Venu 3S does not have the newer turn-by-turn track-back navigation that is on the Venu 4. Now, once again, these are very kind of specific, but for me, I honestly don't notice them very much. If I'm using GPS, the built-in GPS on 3S is good enough for me. I find it very accurate. The navigation, you still have navigation on the Venu 3S. It's just not as detailed, if that makes sense. So these are also some possible cons for you because these are not on the Venu 3S, but are on newer smartwatches.
And the last con for me is the price. The con for me is that if you go and get the Venu 3S at the regular price but it's not on sale, it's expensive.
Now this is going to run you about 500 something Canadian or 400 something American. Definitely expensive at the regular price point.
Now, I would not recommend you buy this at the regular price point in 2026. I just think it's not worth it for that price. But if you are able to grab this on sale, because the Venu 3S does go on sale quite often, which I would say is a pro, you can grab this for like usually 10, 20, 30% off, then I would say that is a pro, because it goes on sale quite often, and at the sale price, I definitely think it's a better buy. All right, guys, so those are all of the reasons why I think the Garmin Venu 3S is still worth it in 2026. Now, if you're looking for a bit more of a deep dive review, I've done a full review on the Venu 3S, which you'll find linked in the description. And let me know if you have this smartwatch, and if you don't, if you're considering buying it, and if you think it's worth it or not in 2026. Let me know in the comments below. I always love to hear from you guys. And if you're looking to pick up the Garmin Venu 3S, I've gone and left a link down in the description for you to use. Now that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.